So galactose is essential. It doesn't raise blood sugar
Well,
much.
Dr. Andrew Weil and Dr. Mark Hyman, are two experts in natural health, would disagree with you, but I'm on your
Uh,
side. I
I
just think it's
totally
atrocious.
disagree with them. I'm
Yeah.
totally anyone who puts soy in a baby is absolutely ignoring the facts, how detrimental. But that's another subject. I think
Yeah,
we can
yeah, yeah.
talk about it in another time. The point is the high ratio of fat to protein could attenuate fat loss. Not necessary. I'm not. I'm personally, and I think we agree about it, Joe. I don't think really that fat make you fat. If you're a healthy person and your meal is low glycemic, fat is not your enemy. But
Sure.
it could attenuate the fat loss. So it's not sugar will make you fat. Fructose will make you fat. Fat, good fat will not make you fat. It actually attenuates the weight loss. So I agree with you. If your purpose is losing weight, whole milk is not the right substrate. Then I would say that whey is a better choice because whey lactose is much lower. And sweet whey, even though it has a higher lactose than that whey protein concentrate, it's still not a freaky amount of lactose that you should worry about.
Okay.
And so my opinion, but I agree with you about the whole milk issue.
Hmm.
And there are so many issues that we can discuss, you know. The point is, there is always a panic about something. And in this case, it does not justify it. Have yourself a good diet. Go down on the food chain. If you can tolerate dairy, eat it. It's a wonderful defense. Raw milk, organic, raw milk cheese, good. Grass-fed cows, unheated whey, great choice by any means. Okay? Then, for salt, Himalayan salt, do not supplement with iodine. Stay away from any selenium supplement. Do not do that. And you're going to do very well. That's my opinion.
Okay. And so, are there any other? So basically, it's a simple recommendation. You're going to see a lot of people, including many natural health experts, are going to advocate the use of iodine prophylactically to protect yourself from radioactive iodine. But you think that that's not a wise choice, in summary, because of the massive amount of essentially supplementation in most food products, or it's actually a
I think
mistake.
we have too much iodine already in
Much
the
already.
system, and the science proves that too much iodine
And it's
can.
better. And the other concern that virtually no one is addressing are all the other radioactive minerals. And no one's recommending to take enough strontium so you don't get the strontium receptors.
Nobody recommends the trace
So
element.
trace
It's
elements at all. So the issue is how do you take a high quality trace element, and there's a lot of there's a fair number of them on the market, but it's always best in my approach to seek to get your supplements from food, whole foods,
absolutely,
not from a
absolutely.
vitamin supplement. So and ideally. Whole milk would be a great source of it, but as we discussed as a sort of a tangent, is that yes, it's a good supplement, but if you're part of the two-thirds of the United States population who is overweight or have another problem with insulin resistance like diabetes, high
Yeah.
cholesterol, or high blood pressure, then you probably don't want to consider whole milk, even though it's a good source of these nutrients and minerals.
Yes.
But you may want to do a concentrate, not an isolate, like whey protein. And the one that you put together, the whey protein, the Miracle Whey, is really one of the finest sources of whole protein concentrate.
I
So
think it's the finest. I tell you now, it is the finest. It is very difficult. I think it's impossible to find grass-fed cows today. It is
yeah.
really, really
Yeah,
impossible
and
to
could you
find
just
them
summarize?
today.
I mean, you say that very convincingly and very authoritatively, and certainly it could be self-serving since you put it together. But why don't you just share briefly the other reasons that lead you to that vigorous uh, uh, belief that it is in fact the finest?
I think I know it's the finest because I've been working here to source grass-fed cows, and people say, well, you know, the only grass-fed cows today in the world is done in Australia, and I can tell you that it's all derived from pasteurized milk.
The
So
Australian cows, the
yes,
supposedly Australian grass-fed
yes,
cows are really pasteurized. So
all
they're
of them by the Australian pasteurized. So if you ever try a non-instantized Australian whey, It's non-water soluble and it reeks. It doesn't even taste good. It's an acid whey, and there is even high suspicion that they are using acid whey in the process. We talked before about acidity, how bad it is for your body.
Mm-hmm.
Our whey is the ultimate. It is derived from pasture-grazed cows, which are fed grass usually from April until October, and then during the winter they are being fed hay and healthy plant silage. This is the standard terms of grass-fed or graze-feeding in America. In America, I think the only place that you can find 100% grass-fed cows is maybe in Hawaii, but there's not enough cow to make. There's not enough milk to really make production.
Yeah.
So what we do, it's not just that. We just actually use a protein which is cold processed, unheated, not derived from pasteurized milk, documented from raw milk. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And you can notice the difference in the taste, the aroma, and the effect on the body. Our naturally occurring immunocomponents are documented by Kendrick Lab. They are the highest that exist in the world today. If you compare it ever with the Australian way, they report it, we are talking about major differences in hundreds of percents. So, by all means of nutritional composition, the formula itself that combines two of the best whey together, which is the whey protein concentrate, the 80%, which is a whole whey, and then the native whey, the sweet whey, the organic sweet whey that we discussed with all the minerals. And I don't see anyone else who did this special formula. So nutrition-wise, taste-wise, unmatched.
All right, well, good. All right, so I think that's really the brief summary, and people now have the knowledge. So, and it's actually new to me. I didn't prior to this conversation. I didn't realize, even though I personally use Miracle Whey pretty much every day, did not realize it was such a phenomenal source of trace nutrients or trace minerals. So,
Absolutely.
it's a hidden benefit that I was heretofore unaware of. So, thank you for updating me on that.
It's my pleasure, Joe. And what's great about it, I personally use it. You personally, I really believe in it.
Yeah.
I really believe my family is using it. It's
Yeah.
just a good whole food.
Well, my friends and family use it too, and life is too short to be trying to find something to earn an income rather than just try to find something that you're going to use for yourself personally that you believe is the finest available, and suggest people consider using that because that's what it is, and it's not being done for any other reason other than to provide a healthy food source to really combat the pernicious typically available foods that push us towards disease and not towards health.
Absolutely, and we always try to keep it in the most low glycemic possible way,
Yeah.
so none of the product has sugar added.
Just to close up, and then we'll finish, is this maltodextrin, because I know you've written about it before, but just to add it to this conversation, just briefly describe the difference, because many people are concerned they see maltodextrin, and rightly so. It's an inexpensive, cheap actually, typically, and should be avoided, typically contaminated with MSG, and breaks down, raises insulin, and because it's not digestive resistant. But the maltodextrin that's used in the Miracle Whey, which provides much of the sweetness to it, is really in a polymer that's resistant to digestive enzymes, so it doesn't raise insulin, and it actually serves as a substrate, sort of a pre-fiber material for the benefits. It's a prebiotic and actually helps the
Yes.
good bacteria. It's fuel for them, so it helps encourage their growth.
I think you said it very well, but I can sum it up in 2 words. Regular generic maltodextrin is a complex carbohydrate. It does raise insulin, and it has a glycemic load.
Mm-hmm.
The other digestive resistant maltodextrin, the one that is Miracle Whey, is not a carbohydrate, it's a fiber. Huge difference. One is converted into energy, calories, raise insulin. The other one does not convert to energy, is not breaking down for energy, and serve as a fiber. In fact, it's one of the best water-soluble fibers. There are some studies that are done on this digestive-resistant maltodextrin called fermented fiber, and it has shown to yield its outstanding benefit on reducing blood sugar and blood lipids, similar to the one fiber in oats, but with oats you still have carbohydrates. Here you have no carbohydrates, And it is also a prebiotic food. Yes, it does support friendly gut bacteria. So we got a triple win situation, and it tastes good, you know.
Yeah,
It,
I was
is,
the
it does not take you digest, it
and
doesn't make you bloated.
yeah, typically tasting good means sugar, and you may believe that's the case when you look at the label because the label suggests it identifies carbohydrates. But the label doesn't distinguish is between the carbohydrate from fibers, which are not digested, like you just mentioned, versus the ones that are simple carbohydrates that break down and raise insulin. So even though it says carbs, and normally you want to avoid carbs typically, especially processed foods, there's a distinction here that you have to be aware of.
It's a total different animal,
Yeah,
and what you get here is the difference between an adverse material to some beneficial material,
right. Yeah.
and that's what you have right now in milk. It's simply a fiber.
Yeah, and thank you for, when I first became aware of your product, I wasn't aware of the difference, and I, like most people, just thought it was the bad maltodextrin and didn't know that there was this massive, significant, basically different totally foods. So,
Well,
and
Miracle Water right now, as it is now, does not raise blood sugar. It
yeah,
is diabetic friendly,
yeah,
and partly is because of this fiber.
yeah,
This fiber not just don't raise it, actually help stabilize healthy blood sugar. It helps
sure.
lower blood sugar and blood lipids. It's absolutely a win-win-win situation.
Yeah.
That's what people.
That's a good
And I
food.
think the Mercola label, I believe, will be adjusted to say the right words so people really understand what they're getting there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for providing that as a resource. And little did we know that it would be of benefit in when we have nuclear fallout potentially coming our way. So. Thank you for providing this a resource. And if you're concerned about this, and I'm not suggesting you need to be concerned, it's a whole other discussion. And, certainly outside the range of my expertise on this. But if you are concerned and you're rushing out to the store to get iodine, the recommendation is to not do that. And if you really want to do something proactively, then get some high quality whey protein concentrate, not the isolate. And we think the Miracle Whey is one of the finest. But if you want another one, that's fine too. It just may not be as high quality, but it'll still provide the same benefits with respect to the source of trace minerals.
Yeah, whatever that you choose, make sure that the formula contains sweet native whey.
All right.
You
And
may
you,
be able to get yourself quality sweet whey. Swiss scientists are using it actually to treat
yeah.
digestive disorder. However, a good formula that contains sweet whey will be beneficial in this regard.
And I sort of brushed over the fact that if you're one of the fortunate people, maybe 10 to 20%, probably closer to 10% of the individuals who really are not going to have any negative potential adverse side effects from having raw whole milk, grass-fed organic, of course, then go for it. That's the best. Problem is that most of us really suffer from metabolic challenges that really limit using that as a food until we optimize.
Yeah, that's very correct.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Ori. I appreciate your time
My
and
pleasure,
helping give us
Joe.
the
My
information.
pleasure.